So, about 6 months ago, before the release of Pokemon Arceus, I did a video about how the formula for Pokemon had become stale and repetitive, then proceeded to outline some ideas I hoped to see in Arceus when it finally came out. Well, Arceus dropped a little while ago, and I kept thinking to myself, I have to do a follow-up video to discuss my thoughts about this game. But I wanted to make sure that I didn't do so prematurely. So now that I've done a modest run of Arceus, I feel that it's only right to talk about this game and how much I liked it. Enjoyed it. It was good. Alright, bullshit aside, I genuinely like this game. In my last video, I critiqued how Pokemon Sword and Shield felt like they were on the cusp of trying new things, but fell short in a lot of ways. Arceus, on the other hand, took the tried and true formula that we've known for years and reworked it in a way that made it feel refreshing. And I think reworked is the correct terminology, because oddly enough, they managed to accomplish this by changing very little, but instead they simply shifted the established focus elsewhere. Let me explain. For about the first 5 hours I put into this game, something just felt extremely off to me. I was looking at a Pokemon game, I was playing a Pokemon game, but it just didn't feel like a Pokemon game. At least, not a mainstream one. As a matter of fact, it felt like I was playing Pokemon Go or Pokemon Snap. And that's when I realized there was nothing actually wrong with this game, but rather the problem lay in how I was approaching Pokemon as a whole. You see, this game was made for the gotta catch them all crowd, which is something that I've just never been. To me, Pokemon's always been about the challenge of battling. That's my sweet spot. I like building a team, I enjoy the strategic methods in which battles can be fought, and get a thrill from ultimately crushing my opponents until I'm the best around. But for this game, battling's really just an afterthought. It's essentially a means to an end where the act of battling is really only used as a way to complete your Pokedex. There are really only a handful of trainers that you battle, and you can even defeat most of the boss Pokemon without ever bringing out a Pokemon. You just throw sandbags or fucking whatever it is at them until they die. Now, as far as battling itself goes, I will once again reference my last video where I said this. So when they remade Final Fantasy VII, they updated its combat system in a way that I loved. You still got your usual attack combos and such, but now you're in an open area where you're free to run around, dodge, and strategize how you want to use said combos. This made the combat system not only a little more challenging, but also completely immerse you in it. When I streamed this game, I often found myself in long moments of silence as there were boss battles that sucked me in so much that I forgot I was even on camera. And I think if Pokemon were to implement a system like this, or even close to this, it would be a game changer. They've already started to play with the idea in Pokemon Go with its dodge feature during raids, and I'm just saying, maybe go a little bit harder with it. And they came so damn close. Like, they were right there. They gave you the ability to move the trainer about while the battle was happening, but it was completely fucking pointless. Outside of battle, Pokemon attacks actually affected the trainer. During battle, not so much. Just imagine how chaotic and fun it would have been if they had simply melded all these things together. Dodging a Pokemon's attacks while trying to fire off one of your own, or for the boss battles if they had upped the ante by making you still throw the sandbags while also trying to get off an attack and dodge. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe my expectations are too high, but the thing is, I know we have the means of making this a thing. Picture this, if you will. You're a kid, it's the late 90s, early 2000s, and you're sitting there watching Ash completely suck ass at battling, because let's face it, that dude sucks. He's so lame.
Bad strategy. Don't you know flying Pokemon are weak against rock types?
Guess I forgot.
But you see Pokemon on the screen, dodging and weaving, throwing out counterattacks. Holy shit, that's so cool! I want my Pokemon to be able to do that! So you grab your Game Boy Color, boot up your Pokemon game, and let your imagination run wild because, well, it's 1999 and games look like this. But hey, now they look like this!
Don't come!
We have the means now. We have the technology. I can see they're on the right path. All I'm asking is that we just take this shit to the next level. Just a little more push. All is not lost though, because the updated combat system they did give us was definitely refreshing. I really like how they changed up the way in which Pokemon take turns attacking. In older games it was generally just a back and forth between two opponents, but Arceus made it so not only do we get to see the turn order, but that by swapping between the agile and strong move types we could change the entire flow of battle. Story-wise, they dropped the ball again. To sum up the plot in basic terms, you're a time traveler who falls out of the sky and lands in a time before human and Pokemon lived in harmony. By doing side quests, you actually cause a shift in the world where the two eventually live in unison, which is pretty neat. But the main story feels very bleh, like nothing's going on. The characters are boring, the interactions feel meaningless, and the big twist is such a who gives a fuck moment. Which is a shame because that premise alone has a lot of different directions it could take. But instead, there's nothing driving you to complete the story in this game aside from being able to catch a few more Pokemon. And honestly, if it didn't have a story at all, it pretty much would have felt like the same game to me. To be fair, though, it was nice that they didn't use the usual Pokemon are tools for world domination bullshit that they always do. But they offered a really weak alternative. It's like Game Freak doesn't know what the fuck evil people would do with Pokemon besides use them to take over the world. Now, some of you are probably sitting there thinking, didn't this dude say that he liked this game? And I did. But I liked it in the same way I like playing Subnautica or Minecraft. It's fun, mindless. It's a game that's really all about the grind, and after a long day of work, it was nice to come home and play it while I relaxed. So nice in fact that I ended up putting over 80 hours into it. On top of that, there was only 242 Pokemon that you needed to catch and train, which made the goal seem achievable, as opposed to hunting for, I don't know, over 900 of them. And in what was perhaps my favorite change, they eliminated the need to trade between games in order to collect them all. And as an introvert with very few friends, this was the first time I felt like I actually had a chance at doing this. So this was a big deal for me on a personal level. Graphically, this game was very average. They didn't go crazy with it, which is nothing I'd ever expect out of a Pokemon game. And aside from a few frame drops here and there, it just seemed to be a more polished version of Sword and Shield. Although I will mention that a few people said that it felt like Breath of the Wild, which I don't necessarily agree with. I just think that the terrain is very similar, so it feels that way. However, I'd like to think Breath of the Wild looks far superior. Now, this is actually where I intended to start wrapping this video up, but since I started writing the script for this, a few new pieces of information have come out. The first was an update that came to the game called the Daybreak Update, and it's actually almost not even worth talking about since it's mostly just a new set of side quests, but one thing they did add was the Eternal Battle Mode. And this is essentially this game's Battle Tower, which they had used in previous games where you'd have to fight an endless onslaught of enemies. It's a nice little thing for them to add, especially for people like me who really wanted to get more battles in. However, you can't unlock it until the end of the game, which is kind of a drag. The second piece of information that came about was the announcement for two new Pokemon games, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which... I don't know. I don't feel anything towards these games at the moment. I might just be all Pokemon out and need a break, but like many others, I was surprised they even announced this, and to have it come out at the end of the year just seems way too soon. And I think a lot of us are probably thinking the same thing, that they're probably just going to use the assets from Arceus, you know, things like the graphics, the battle system, etc., etc. They're going to take these things and combine them with the same old formula they've always used. Part of me feels like I should like this. I mean, my two biggest critiques of Arceus were its weak story and how battling felt like an afterthought, but I'm just not optimistic. I want to be. I don't want to come across as though I'm putting these games in a position where they just can't win. I genuinely liked Arceus. And the fact that they were willing to take these kind of risks shows a lot of promise. But for them to take a chance on Arceus and have so many of us love the changes, only to have them backtrack to what could possibly be the same old bullshit, seems like a step in the wrong direction. Now, just as with my last Pokemon video, I'll throw it out there that maybe I'm wrong. I certainly was about Arceus, and we've only seen a brief trailer of Scarlet and Violet. We don't actually know what they will end up doing till we sit down and play the game. As for me though, I think I'm going to take a break from Pokemon for a little bit. As much as I enjoyed Arceus, it really drained me for a while. So I will once again thank you all for coming and sitting through this video, and I hope you all come back to see the follow-up to the follow-up. And if by chance you enjoyed this, be sure to come hang out in one of my streams. We're doing them on YouTube now, and perhaps check out some of my other videos. Till next time, everyone.